Hello, everybody. It is a Friday edition of Happiest Hour, and look who I've got with me. I've got our Crescent Lake Club West Coast, and I mean Best Coast
There you go.
correspondent, Marcus, with us tonight for Happiest Hour. How are you doing, Marcus?
I'm good. How are you, Kills?
Doing great, doing great. So the reason I have Marcus on is he was lucky enough to go to a Touch of Disney this week at Disneyland. So we're gonna pick his brain and hear all of that, how all of that went. But first off, belated happy birthday wishes to you. I hope you had
Thank
a
you.
great birthday. It seems like you had a good one. This is your
Much better
second.
than last year.
I was going to say, you are in the same boat as me with the pandemic birthdays. And I know as soon as a Touch of Disney was announced, you were super excited. So, for those of y'all who haven't been on the stream with Marcus before, Marcus lives just right outside of LA, is a huge Disneyland fan. Kind of like all of us, was a Disneyland annual pass holder. Actually, I think you at one point had one of those super fantastic double coast
I had the
annual
double coast.
passes.
Yeah, that was my last pass, and then had a kid and did not renew the pass, and now I'm regretting not renewing the pass because I can't get a pass at Disney World at the moment. So
I'll think, you know what? I'm there next week. Let me see if I can figure that out for you.
okay, I
But
feel like
yeah,
if you ask the right person, you probably get one.
yeah. I mean, it's all about who you know or who you talk to. But so, how long have you been going to Disneyland up until the pandemic?
Ooh, so I went pretty often as a kid growing up in Los Angeles. We would go every summer, and then grad night. We did do a whole separate podcast on grad night at Disneyland.
Oh my god,
Uh,
we could do it on Florida too. So
yeah, that was a shit show. And so 2001 was grad night, and then college and going to New York sort of got me away from Disneyland. But when I moved back to Los Angeles '09, I was going pretty often, became a pass holder, got my wife into it. So we were probably going maybe monthly,
yeah.
pre kid. And we were not someone who were going all day. When we went, we would go 4 or 5 hours, or we would do a weekend out of it. So we would, get a hotel at the Marriott or at the Hilton and just go down for the weekend.
So I'm going to preface this with I've been to Disneyland with you at least once, maybe twice, but Marcus and I tend to have the same kind of touring style at Disneyland, where it's a lot of, if we want to go on a ride, we'll go on a ride. Otherwise, we will take in all of the Disney atmosphere. And we very much have the same Walt Disney World kind of uh, park touring style. Marcus has been known to go in and maybe take a laptop in and work from Epcot on occasion, because Epcot is basically like the most perfect co-working space you've ever been to. All of this is pre-pandemic. So
Yes.
what's going to be cool is when we start talking about all of these Disneyland things, just to give you guys kind of a little bit of an insight on how we both view Disneyland and our ideas on it. Do you think Disneyland is a locals park? Let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. Is it a destination park or a locals park?
Oh, it's totally a locals park, and I think for me it impacts how I view Disneyland especially compared to Disney World. Like Disney World is vacation for me. That is truly like, okay, I am looking forward to Disney World. Disneyland is like something you wake up and you decide, hey, it's Sunday, it's not too hot, let's go to Disneyland. It's very much a spur of the moment, which will be a lot harder to do, I think, under this new system that's rolling out whenever they do introduce passes back up. it won't be a spur of the moment. It'll be, hey, 2 weeks from now, do you want to do Disneyland? So that's going to be a huge adjustment, I think, for the local passengers who were sort of accustomed to jumping in the park whenever they wanted. Those days will be long gone.
Yeah, like all of us legacy pass holders. So RIP Disneyland pass holder program.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if I said it to you, but Blog Mickey, so one of the like biggest Disney blog and tweet accounts, sent out like their April Fool's joke was D23 pricing. That was D23 is free. It's $50 for a gold pass, and you buy that, and it gets you to access all these different like annual passes. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, seriously, I'll be on the phone tomorrow to turn my Walt Disney World annual pass into this Disney Plus or Disney 23 Plus Premier Pass. And so I was kind of disappointed that that was a really, really an April Fool's joke, because I thought they like hit the price points right. It's going to be really interesting to see what Disneyland comes back with for annual passes, and even like ticketing. We got a little bit of details on how ticketing is going to go. I haven't priced out tickets yet. I'm kind of afraid to, but
if they're going to do the annual ticket price increase, I mean, this is the time to do it. Don't introduce the old price for, let's say, 2 months, and then decide once you're allowing out-of-state people into the park to increase it. Like, just get it out the way, set your expectations accordingly, and go from there.
Because what was like, I almost wanted to ask one of y'all if I could just move in with y'all to get a California driver's license for that SoCal pass, because for a while, wasn't it like under $700 for a SoCal annual pass?
Yeah, I mean, there was a pass at one point that was under 500.
I looked at
the dates are very limited, but yeah.
I tried to go to a Costco like 5 years ago. Remember when they did the Costco only, the California Adventure only annual pass? I'm like, well, the person that I go to Disneyland with, he doesn't want to go to regular Disneyland. He only wants to go to California Adventure. So this is perfect. I'll just take the rental car and go to Costco and get him one of those. And that was like $349.
Yeah,
Insane.
I mean, and this is why they had the problem with the AP program in general, is there were too many options to buy passes. I mean, you had a payment plan to get passes. So if you're charging, 0% interest over 12 months, do the math. It made sense to do that. So I think all that stuff's going away. I think there will be no more payment plan. It'll be like Disney World. You need to pay up front. Yeah. And I think the prices will definitely go up.
So Disney, I will say on this, Disney World in Florida still does a payment plan for residents and DVC. So the silver and gold,
okay.
You do a down payment, and you can do a like a monthly payment, like a flex pay. I think the down payment's like $114, and then you can just keep it rolling forward at that. Like, I have a silver pass at Disney World, and I think I pay like $32 a month on it, and it will just keep rolling forward as long as I renew based on that. So I think maybe they will do something similar to that in California, at least to give California residents something, just some little perk. I think, we saw what we're seeing in Florida with the park reservation, that they tested out with that Flex Pass in California. And I think that's here to stay on both coasts. But we can get back into all of that. I want to talk about, you are one of the first people I know that has stepped foot inside of Disneyland. And so, in case you guys missed it, Marcus this past week for his birthday made the arduous trip from Santa Clarita down to Anaheim for his birthday week to spend some time down in Orange County and go to Disneyland. Why? Because he sat online for longer than it takes to get an NBA Top Shot pack to get tickets to A Touch of Disney. So we're going to start off talking about that. If you don't mind, walk us through a little bit. Everyone's going to think that I was super exaggerating about this ticketing process, but maybe not so much. So tell us a little bit about how acquiring tickets to this went.
Yeah, so Disney's usually good about communicating to their customers about, hey, on so and so date at so and so time, tickets are going on sale. And for this, it felt like on purpose, they did not announce any information outside of on Friday, whatever it was, tickets are going on sale. So I texted you and you said, okay, maybe you should check at midnight. So I waited up until midnight.
I started looking at midnight my time. I looked at 6 a.m. my time. This was a team effort, by the way.
It was. So it was at midnight and the Disneyland site crashed because there were other crazy Disneyland fans that were also checking to see. And just a tip, if you're ever looking for sort of Disneyland news, open a tab in Twitter and just search Disneyland, and you'll find other people that are also doing the same thing as you. So once everyone realized okay, it's not to be at midnight, I went to bed, woke up early, and checked at I think 7 a.m. Still nothing. So then I figured, okay, well, they're not going to clearly announce a time, so the best is just to keep checking every 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. And finally around 8:30, I checked and the queue was open, and I jumped in the queue thinking, okay, I must be ahead of the game. No, because I think tickets went on sale at 9 a.m. I don't know what time the queue opened, but it took me from 8:30 until I think almost 1 o'clock Pacific to actually, and I had 2 tabs. I got in the queue on my phone and my computer. And I mean, this whole time I was also talking to a buddy who was also in the queue, who got in after I did, who ended up getting tickets before me, which, Disney IT, I don't know how that works, but he was able to purchase his tickets ahead of me, even though he jumped in the line after me. So it was it was a process.
I think as soon as we saw on Twitter that the queue was open, you said you were in, both Teets and I jumped in because we figured, if one of us gets to buy tickets, we can figure it all out. Yeah. I think that was the day I was driving to Texas because I was also trying to buy a NBA Top Shot pack that day too. And it literally became Marcus and I texting each other. What's going to happen? Are you going to get these Disneyland tickets before I get this NBA Top Shot pack? But it was very crazy. And we got to, like you saw immediately, some vloggers on Twitter were like, oh, does anyone even want to go to this event? Look at all these open days that I'm picking. It's Tom Corliss's girlfriend. She's awful. And then you have people who want to be at this or I'm just sitting, I'm waiting. Mm-hmm. So you actually had a specific day in mind that you wanted.
Yeah, I wanted March 27th, which was my birthday. And that was gone. The 28th was gone. The first weekend was entirely gone. So the earliest was March 29th, which was a Monday. So it worked because we just extended our trip another night. But then at that point, I know, darn. But at that point, it sold out by that afternoon. And that was with the extra days too. They added the extra weekend because of the demand. So.
And then crazy because typical Disney. And then after they sell out all these weekends, the next day we get news that the parks are probably going to be open. So crazy funny how that works. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we'll get into all of that in opinions. I've sent Marcus a list of how I'm asking all these questions, so everything is in a pattern. So you secured tickets. Happy birthday for going down to Anaheim for your birthday. Where did you stay?
We stayed at the JW Marriott, which is brand new. So a year ago, I had my hopes set on going to Disneyland for my birthday, and we were holding out because we wanted to go and take my son for the first time on my birthday as sort of like a birthday gift to myself. And we probably had a chance to go to Disneyland in February when he was probably 5 months, but we figured, you know what, let's just wait. Then COVID happened, and there wasn't much to do on March 27th, 2020, because LA at the time was pretty much shut down entirely. So, um, but during all this time, I had booked a JW Marriott, which was supposed to open in 2020. I had a reservation that kept getting bumped because of COVID, and had one for Father's Day last year, had one for the 4th of July, had one for
You
Labor
just kept
Day.
rolling.
I just kept rolling it over, kept getting the emails from, the JW Marriott, president, or not president, but the manager saying, hey, unfortunately, we're not going to be open. If you want a discount at a hotel, you can stay at the Marriott in Anaheim. And I was like, no, that's not what I want. So finally, this
I'm
hotel
sticking it out
opens.
for this
I'm sticking
JW.
it out.
I'm here. I want to be the first man in this JW Marriott.
Yeah. So I don't know when it officially opened, but that's where we stayed. We stayed 2 nights there. Unfortunately, because of COVID, the restaurants were not open. So it was sort of a incomplete experience of the JW Marriott. Luckily, it's attached to Garden Walk, which has a couple restaurants and not much else these days. It's a pretty sad scene over at Garden Walk.
Yeah. I mean, everyone is worried about this whole Disneyland forward thing, imminent domaining households and things like that. On the other side of the parks, I think the first thing that Disney takes over is Garden Walk to really annex that and use that as property. And you know, they'll get a Bubba Gump shrimp already there. I think the movie theater is still there. Didn't House of Blues move over to Garden
So
Walk?
House of Blues is over there. They're closed. I mean, they were open for a private event, but they've been closed since at least the second round of COVID.
Yeah,
They
sounds
should be
about
opening
right.
soon because we're actually doing better in terms of the numbers. But so House of Blues didn't move there. There's the PF Change. There's a Cheesecake Factory.
Well, I do
Um,
which is if there was so this is I'm gonna do I think I've asked you this before. If a cheesecake factory opened at Disney Springs at Walt Disney World, would that be the highest grossing cheesecake factory on the entire planet?
Based on Disney fans' palates, yes, it would be.
Yeah. Okay.
And it would probably be too fancy for some Disney fans, but for the majority of them, I think they would.
That menu is still like 38 pages long. They can find chicken nuggets. People still go
But
to Rainforest Cafe and T-Rex.
but do they call them chicken nuggets? That's the thing. If it has a different name, people
Mm.
freak out. So
Oh, that's true. What if they just called them tendies?
tendies, yes.
Tendies. So your last day of your stay was Touch of Disney. What else did you guys do leading up to that? Because so for everyone, it was Marcus and his super sweet wife and their adorable kiddo who is 19 months old.
19 months tomorrow, yeah. Yeah.
He's so
Um,
big. This is what
no.
Marcus wants to sue Disney because he's lost 2 of these three
It's
free years.
I've lost. We're halfway in now on this three and under deal, and have
Yeah.
not had a chance to take advantage yet. But so we
You could
checked
sue
in Saturday
COVID. You could sue
afternoon. I
COVID.
know I should. So we checked in Saturday afternoon and did not do much Saturday. By the time we got down there, we had ordered PF chains from next door, so we try to eat inside as much as possible inside the room. And on Sunday, we went over to Garden Walk and we checked that out, and that was,
Blake.
this is my first, yeah, it's my first time back to Anaheim since COVID, and just walking around Anaheim, just around the park, a lot of stuff is closed, and
Yeah.
I wonder long term how all of this is going to impact the city of Anaheim, because it feels like it's some places will never reopen, some places will reopen, but will never, I think, have the same, crowds, or will be, missing a year of revenue. So I don't know. Just walking around the city, it just felt kind of desolate. And I'm hoping that once the parks open later this month, that some of that energy will come back. But it was a weird feeling. But yeah, I mean, Garden Walk was sort of half open. Um, Not everything is open. A lot of stuff is just either closed temporarily or closed for good. So to your point, I think if Disney wanted to get a good deal on sort of some real estate, this would be the time to do it now. Buy low, secure that space, and then you can figure out after the fact what you want to do with it.
Well, and I think to like do a little bit of a politics aside, we did see in the past week that they presented this Disneyland forward um, kind of, I don't know how to determine. Everyone's like, look, this means it's going to be all of these things. And they started breaking down all the concept art. But really, it was just a presentation to the city of Anaheim and Orange County that, look, we've been on bad footing with y'all for a couple of
Hmm.
years. We thought we would close all these things down and you guys would grant us a mixed use permit to build a hotel where ESPN was, and you guys didn't. And then now we've just gone through a pandemic that has seen us lose money, the city lose jobs, businesses
Yep.
close, your budget shortfall. You just took out a 200 something billion-dollar loan just to cover this. This is what we want to do. If you will just grant us a permit change and make everything we own mixed use instead of singular use for entertainment or hotel or this, look at all these things we can all do together. And that's all that they wanted to do. We're never going to see 98% of what they pitched in this concept art. It was
No.
basically just a plea to the city council. It's like, look, we're ready to, you guys are new now. We are ready to work with you. We're ready to work with people in situations. We're both in a bad place and we got to find a way to make money. How about you start by switching out some of our zoning? That's a really easy thing for you to do. And if you guys do that, by 2023, we'll find a way to come up with the money and send some version of these construction plans to you. And I think you and I joked we won't see any of this until 2028 or 2030. But you know what? At least it's a step forward. I think Disney still wants to have that hotel that was supposed to go where ESPN is real bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because
I
it's
understand. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's because it's, there's so few places to stay. And even now that Disney's opening up, or Disneyland is opening up, the only place to stay on property is Grand Californian Villas, which is basically 30 rooms, or the Grand Californian, which is basically $1 million. And then we'll
Yeah.
see the other two places. But I think that's what people miss out, is that Disneyland is so important to the local culture, to just that. I live in a city that is very tourism and hospitality dependent, so I understand it 100%. When your big moneymaker isn't working, nobody is getting money or anything else. So I see what they're going for. What did you?
Yeah.
So what were your experiences? Because you guys just did takeout at offsite restaurants, correct?
Yes, we did PF Change Saturday, and we did Justice Fried Chicken on Sunday.
Did you just
So you,
love Gus's?
I haven't had it in, it's been 2 or 3 years at least. Yeah, last time I went was actually, we took a work meeting at Dus's one day.
Mm.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I
So
didn't know that your blank space place of employ is a Gus's
he
supporting.
who should now be named, well, took us one day. So um,
Well, yeah, it is chicken. So
but
there we go.
yeah.
There we go.
Uh,
I,
so yeah, that was Sunday, and then I mean the pool was open. We did not go to the pool, unfortunately, but that was open. The bar was open, which was good. Um, but outside of that, it felt like it was sort of at maybe 60% in terms of like what the hotel was actually offering.
okay.
And I mean, to that point too, it also did not feel super crowded either. There were definitely, I went down Sunday night to get a beer, and there was a party of people. They let from the same party, it's maybe a party of 10 or 15 that were sort of in the bar area. But
Hmm.
outside of that, pretty quiet, all things
Yeah.
considering. Um, and in terms of the actual hotel itself, so I have not stayed at Grand Destino yet, but based on the photos, I would say that's your closest comparison if you're comparing the two. So if you
So
sort of like that experience, this is probably a good spot for you.
yeah, I have stayed at Grand Destino, and I tend to stay at JW Marriott's when I travel, and that is the most perfect explainer. I absolutely love Grand Destino. I love the wallpaper. I'm gonna try and figure out how to get it for a room in my house, but it's very much, you hit the nail on the head. It's yeah. It's That's what Grand Destino is. It's like they stole someone from Marriott that had built and designed JW Marriott hotels, and they were able to do that to meet what those kind of travelers attached to a convention center are looking for. A larger room, a nicer bathroom, a
Nicer
bigger,
bathroom, yeah.
yeah, a nicer, bigger bathroom with a kind of separation, and a bigger bed with really a not so much a sitting table area, but multiple multi-use spaces in the tiny room, and a really functional desk that may also connect to the TV or have its own
Hmm.
TV station. So I those are the things that I look for. That's what everyone's like, why? Because everyone is always like, I always bag on the Poly. Well, Poly is a motel. It doesn't have anything. I don't care for theming. I care for functional, and I care for space. And because I'm always used to staying in Marriott's, and the Grand Destino Tower at Coronado has all of that.
And it's had a trundle bed too. So if you're traveling with kids,
Ooh,
it looked like a pretty decent sized trundle. So definitely big
really?
enough for, yeah, definitely big enough for two kids.
All right then.
So
Did
it's
not know
easily the
that.
nicest hotel. It's easily the nicest off property hotel near
Yeah,
Disneyland.
because I
Oh,
usually
and I
stay
was
at
gonna
the Fair.
say,
I stay in the Fairfield Inn, but I do one of like the theme park suites that has
hmm
a really cool like mural on the wall, but it just faces Space Mountain. And it's a Marriott, so you get points and you can use points there, which is a bonus.
it's all about the points, really.
It really is all about. We're so disclosure, we're both sports journalists or former sports journalists, and the first thing you learn is sign up for a Marriott account, and that's all you ever stay at is Marriott, because the points are the best, the points spin the easiest, and the points accrue the easiest.
Yep.
So thank you, Marriott, for not sponsoring this portion of tonight's stream, but I will send this to you, and maybe you will in the future. So
A
let's get
couple
back
more
to touch it.
things.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
real
for
quick.
it.
There is no Disney theming. There's no mention of Disney at all in the hotel. So if you're looking for like a Disney gift shop or any type of reference to Disneyland, you're not going to find it. Um, the one thing that was open that we did not see was there is a bar, a rooftop bar that they said has a great fireworks view whenever fireworks return. So if you're looking for a spot to watch fireworks one night, you can head over to the JW. And then parking, we should mention that too. Parking was
Oh
$40.
yeah, how much? I was gonna say, how much was that?
$40 valet only. So you are stuck with valet.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine that they're only doing. I don't want. It's still a pandemic. I don't want anyone in my car.
And they were at least did about rolling down the windows when they brought back the car without even asking.
Like, were they wearing gloves or anything like that?
No gloves, masks of course, but no gloves.
Mm.
So there is a Garden Walk is next door. Garden Walk parking I think is $10. I want to say. I don't know about overnight parking. I don't know if you want to take
Yeah,
that risk of leaving your car over there, but that is
probably
something to
not.
consider if you're staying at the JW. Is that parking will get you.
So let's go back to happier things. So you finally got in and you bought the tickets for Touch of Disney, which for anyone who's not familiar with, it's like a food fest. It's a hard ticket food festival at California Adventure that got you into the park. It included your parking. It included your
Yep.
memory maker photos. You got a $25 tasting card, and you basically got to wander around California Adventure and have some of the Disneyland food you've been missing, all for a grand total of like what, $75 plus tax per person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what were your expectations? I know you as a friend that you just were going to do this because it's your birthday and you want to be back in Disneyland in some capacity.
hmm
So, I know that was your motivation for this. What were your expectations for this kind of event?
So funny enough, I think my expectations down once Newsom decided to reopen the parks. So in the back of my head, I figured whatever happens today, it doesn't matter because April 30th, it's game on. So I had lower expectations. Also, I was just at California Adventure on March 1st. I went down on a Monday to go to downtown Disney, and we
That's right.
we, we popped in to DCA for the first time, and you could go, you couldn't go too far in the park, but you could at least hit popcorn, you could at least hit a churro, you could at least, if you had Carthay Circle, you could at least go there. So you at least had this, I think, sort of a taste of the park. Uh, but I
So
will say
you went from a taste to a
to a
touch.
touch, yeah.
And then
Uh,
now are you looking forward to just full on Disney or
well, we'll get to that after my experience Monday with a certain someone. I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll get to that. So yeah, we got there at 12:30. We parked at Mickey and Friends. We made the trek because there's no tram from Mickey and Friends over to Esplanade. Um,
that's
it's
like a
about
mile?
it's a little under a mile yet. I timed it. Um, it's a nice little walk. Security was
Yeet.
actually a pretty easy process, so that part was good. So we got in and we had a 1:30 at Lamplight Lounge, which that's my first time eating there. Funny enough.
That's
So
right, because you asked me if I'd been there.
yeah, so we went straight to Lamplight and we did that. You know, it was busy, but it didn't feel like people were on top of you at Lamplight. Um, I haven't done a whole lot of sit down dining since the pandemic, and all the dining we've done has been outdoors. But this one was pretty fine, and the overall my whole time there, it felt safe. And this has sort of been
Were
a
you
pattern for me in terms of my trips down there.
were you guys inside or outside at Lamplight?
Outside.
Like in the old Cove Bar area?
Uh-huh. Oh, look at you. The 0-1 Dodgers.
Hey,
what happened to your
they're gonna get
Padres?
the what?
What happened to your
Oh,
Padres?
I have three teams this year: the Dodgers and the Cubs because I have hats because Yu Darvish played for both of them, and the Padres because he plays for them now.
Okay, so you still have the Dodgers and the Padres. That'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, listen, I've spent years as a tortured Rangers fan, so now it's my time to see what the bandwagon is like, and I'm really excited about it.
Welcome aboard. You picked a good time to root for the Dodgers. So yeah, we did Lamplight, and I had the barbacoa nacho. So I can't do dairy. So
Forgot about that.
I know.
We just got
So
meat back in your diet, and you can't do dairy though.
I know. So I ordered the nacho. I told the guy, I want the nachos, but put all the cheese on the side. And of course, they bring out the nachos that are just like the regular nachos. And I said, hey, I meant like all the cheese on the side. Like I can't do any cheese. So it brought it back down. It was actually pretty good. My wife had the cheese on the side, so she was able to eat nachos as the way God intended to eat, have them consumed.
Well, it was the worst when Marcus told me he was going. I'm like, here's my list. Go eat these things for me.
Like, nope.
Deep fried cheese.
Nope.
Lobster nachos. There's a macaroni and cheese. I don't know that. I think that was more of a dare than anything else, but like the deep fried cheese dog from Corn Dog Castle is literally like, before all this came around, I had a dream one night that you could go into California Adventure and you had to make an ADR for one restaurant, and I had like my pick. I was the first one in there, and I didn't pick like One County Trattoria or Carthay or Blue Bayou. I picked Corn Dog Castle so I could go get the deep fried cheese on a stick, which I'm pretty sure is something, if I really put my mind to it, I could have perfected in the air fryer here during Pandy times.
For much cheaper.
For way cheaper.
And better cheese. You could do like fancy cheese instead of...
I don't know. It's got to be like the nicer version of Velveeta. It can't be like... No, it's got to... There's just something about it. Yeah, you're not a cheese person. You won't get it.
I'm not at all. So we started there, and we walked.
How was your? So this is your kiddo's first experience inside a park, though.
Second, because he was there when we popped in for DCA and earlier, but that didn't count.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
But all right, keep going. I'll stop interrupting.
Oh yeah. So walked around Pizza Peter. The arcade games are open, which I forgot about. So that was a cool surprise to see people actually playing games. In general,
which is also weird in pandemic times that's going to be open. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I don't know how they were cleaning stuff, but we did not play. I'll say overall in general, this felt pretty much like a day at California Adventure minus the parks and minus the rides actually running. It felt like if you're going to the parks and not doing any rides and just eating and drinking, it felt like a normal day.
Just like walking around for ambiance and stuff like that. And so, gosh, there's so many things I'm just going to shoot through two things and then
Sure.
that just have to do with the event. And then I think the other questions I want to ask you will kind of tie in with what your view of what Disneyland and California Adventure will look like overall.
Okay.
Do you feel like you got a value for this event, or
When you factor in the $25 food cart, the parking thing is kind of it's a value, but then if you're multiple adults like us, then you're not really getting the full value because, one car, two adults.
yeah,
And considering parking was free up until a few months ago at downtown Disney, it's hard to say that's a true value. So if you're saying really it's $50 you're paying for, I think it's worth it. I think it's going to be worth it for Disney fans. If you're someone who is a casual Disney fan who might have got a chance to get tickets, you probably would not feel like you're getting your money's worth. But for I think the fans that are jonesing for sort of that Disney experience, especially the ones that have not been to Disney World since all of this, yeah, it was definitely worth it.
yeah. And so you said lamplight. Did you try any of the food stalls? And if you did, do you have a best and worst food that you tried? Or
I did have some food. So the food thing, this was probably my only big negative about all of this. So in order to purchase the food from the food booths, you had to go to a centralized cash register essentially, and you would place your order there. They would give you the receipt, and then you would go
mm,
to the booth, or you can mobile order, which similar to WW, you have to reserve a time slot. You have to show up in that window. It's a whole process. If you're late in the day, like I was when I was eating, everything was already booked until 7:30. So I'm hoping this is just for a touch of Disney, and it's not going to be something that they're going to roll out as part of sort of the reopening, because it is a hassle to go from one end of the park to stop at two different booths to pick up food, and then you're walking back to get a table. It was just a lot. So that was a
yes.
negative.
So yeah, I did watch a couple of YouTube videos just to kind of prep myself and familiarize a little bit. And I can see the absolute negative if there's only one place for an event like this that is solely based on food. That's the only thing you're allowed to do in the park. And like, I don't even know how many shops were open and stuff like that. You can't go on rides. But I almost wish that the, basically pre-order kiosk exists in a couple places around Epcot for like Food and Wine or Flower and Garden or Festival of the Arts. And you can just go ahead and pick stuff. And when you're ready to go and redeem, you just walk up and just
Hmm.
hand your receipt, because they're never going to be able to have mobile order for that. So I thought that was kind of a cool idea, but to see that it didn't really work in your favor is frustrating.
Yeah, I mean,
It seems like a great idea in concept.
in concept, because you could, if you wanted to buy something and go 3 hours later and pick it up, you could. So,
Yeah.
um,
Which
but
is
I
a
think
lot
they
better
were
than trying
also
to
a little.
organize your food like 18 months in advance, which we used to have to do.
This is true. This is true. I think
It's,
they're also a little understaffed in terms of. I mean, they were working essentially two lines of people, because you had the people who had receipts, and then you had your people who were mobile ordering.
right.
So I don't know where they're at in terms of staffing after everything that's going on. So maybe that's part of the issue. But
And so, I also wonder if that one kiosk had a lot to do with the people that just weren't going to put the gift cards or whatever onto their app, and they like the olds that just need a physical person to go and talk to.
mhm. I will say that
So,
line was never too long either.
oh,
It was pretty short. The Olds line. We'll call it the Olds line.
we'll call it the
Um,
old line. I think that's a good.
yeah,
We'll go with that. Good call.
yeah. So, and there were multiple of them, but yeah, that I think that part was a bit of an adjustment.
How exciting was it to be in the parks?
It was exciting. My other negative too. So the music.
Oh,
I don't know what exactly they were playing in the background. I am someone who is a purist when it comes to my park music, and
mm.
they were playing like a top 40 collection of Disney
Oh
songs that
no,
were,
probably playing the music that plays outside of Fantasmic at Walt Disney World.
yeah.
That's
It felt like they were
probably what
playing
they were
that.
playing.
Have you heard the new Sirius station yet? The Disney Sirius station. Like it's like Sirius 304.
Oh gosh, no. He already wants to divorce me as it is. If I like put
Yeah,
that
don't
as a
play that in the
save
house.
if I put that as a save get in the Jeep, I'm really done for.
So it felt like they were playing, every song from that. So that part was also a negative,
Yeah, you were
but
expecting to
overall,
get like a background, like themed background music from every
yes,
area you went to. Yeah, I
yeah,
feel like that should be, that's not a ridiculous expectation. I think
no,
that's an absolutely fair expectation. And then you can have like pop or DJ music or something in like a big sit down area, like where was the right by the Frozen Theater where they used to have that crazy Alice in Wonderland like rave group play over there to the left by where Mike and Sully's ride is.
oh yeah, 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 towards the front of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that's like the perfect, you could still have a DJ there and have all your like
hmm
kind of party fun pop music over there. That seems like that's a perfect kind of spot for that. Again, I'm just saying this not knowing what kind of thoroughfares you can go through, but I assumed you could pretty much free walk through all of California Adventure
yeah.
except for the new Marvel area.
So New York that was closed. Going towards Tower of Terror, I believe, was closed.
It's called
Outside of
Mission
that,
Breakout now.
though, I'm sorry, I got a
Also,
little
it's
green.
it's it's better as Guardians of the Galaxy than it is as Tower of Terror. Also, don't at me on that one either. I ain't got time for
At
that.
Heels 81.
That's fine. I don't care. Nope. It's even better at night during a Halloween season when it's like a monsters unleashed and it's just all in the dark. It's greatness. It's greatness. All right. So you said you were fine with being in the parks. Was there one ride you walked past that you wished you could have just popped on if you were like, say, a Lopez brother or something like that, and they would have fired it up for you?
Um, oh, it had to be Soarin' then. I mean, that feels like something they could easily fire
Well,
up
because
and
you probably could also get it the California video instead of soaring around the world.
yeah, they should definitely
So,
bring that back.
but it didn't super bother you to be in the parks but not be able to go on any rides.
No, and that's also probably sort of, as you mentioned, sort of the way I experience
Our like
parks. It's
our
yeah,
touring
it's
styles.
listen, if you have food and you have alcohol, I'm good. Um,
And
but I
so
will
this
say,
is real. Oh yeah, go
no, go
ahead.
ahead. I was gonna say
No, go
that
ahead.
this was the first time with a little one at the park, and this was good practice for when the real thing opens up, how to how to attack this with a kid. The first mistake was not having a nap time with him. It just between checkout of the hotel and having this 1:30 reservation, it just wasn't ideal for a nap. And
Yeah.
I think we paid for it in the afternoon because he had a bit of a bit of a meltdown. Oh, so he had this meltdown, and Starbucks was not open. So my wife's first thought was, hey, he probably needs some milk. Trying to find milk at a park where Starbucks is closed is a little tricky.
Oh, so
Uh,
all right. So this is. Do they not have any of like the child care or like baby centers open in the park?
so that was open. That was our savior.
Okay. I was gonna be like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, because
but
Courtney had told
even
me when she took
then,
her newborn, and I was like, please don't tell me they did this super expensive event and they have everyone in there, and then the baby care centers are closed.
no, it was open. But I think
Okay, good.
they only had, I think, formula. Someone had to actually, I think, call in and
And find a place
get
to get
milk,
like,
find milk. Yeah. So, that was a lesson learned. But
gosh, is he the only
overall,
baby? Is he the only baby in California that drinks like actual like milk from a cow?
he drinks two milks. He drinks whole milk and he drinks lactose-free milk. So we need, in theory, on a good, I mean, we have downstairs, we have two milks in the refrigerator, two different milks, because it bothers his stomach. So
Yeah.
we need the good stuff from the whole milk, but also need to not wreck his stomach. So we mix it with the lactose. So he's a very California bougie
He's
baby.
nah, he's half bougie. He's half
He's half
bougie.
bougie.
He's
Yeah.
half he's half bougie. So I did see, speaking of my sweet half bougie baby, he did have a character interaction where
Yes.
he was super low riding in his stroller, like died. I died. So tell everyone a little bit about how that character interaction went.
Yeah. So the character interactions were, socially distant or physically distant, what they call it, Disney. Um, we saw three of them. Goofy was fishing over at the wharf. And then I forget who was up. So upstairs at Park Day, um, at that balcony area, there was a character up
Mm-hmm.
there as well, looking down. And then Chippendale were over, sort of near, um, where the monorail is, sort of back there in the grass. And of course, there's a handler and a cast member. So they were off in the distance, and we stopped. And my son, as you mentioned, was in a stroller, and he just had a ball, just laughing. We were wondering how, would he understand what he was watching, or would he understand characters? This was his first time really being that close to characters, but he enjoyed it. He was just laughing.
Yeah.
And we'll be
He was
curious
like,
to see once things are
where he's
normal,
like,
like how that works with characters in your face. But for the meantime, from a distance, he was good. He was good.
because, all right, so did you guys go and try and see like socially distant Santa or anything like that around Christmas with him? Because this is right around the age when they start realizing that Santa is either a good guy or a super terrorist.
We did Santa. Santa was more than 6 feet away,
Okay.
and he was not having it. He was. I
That's
don't,
a
I don't know
weird,
what it
it's a
was. It was
weird
weird.
construct.
But
It's got to be the beard and the weird outfit. And it's like nobody I know in daily life really looks like this guy.
no,
And you want me to like wave at him? I'm
yeah.
not gonna do that. At least like the chipmunks, he's like, I've seen these guys on the TV like every day with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And he was all so Marcus sent me the video and he was all like laying back in his stroller. He's like, he was all in with the chipmunks. So the character interactions, you think those were a thumbs up?
I think it was thumbs up, considering the alternative is no characters at all.
Right.
I felt like this was a good sort of happy medium in terms of providing customers with something while also keeping the cast members safe. And I wonder, as we get more vaccines and as we start to reopen, what I guess Disney will feel comfortable with in terms of, character interactions. I'm assuming that they're not wearing masks under the costumes because it's already hot enough as it is.
Well, and they're also
Um,
those little helmet. As here we go, we're going to lift the curtain. As someone that was in entertainment, those things get back when I was a fur character, they get sprayed down with stare back, which
oh,
is basically yeah. So I think they're okay in there. I can't imagine that they're having to wear masks underneath the heads because you already have to wear a whole set of like a head thing to hold your hair back that helps you keep sweat into your hair and not go into the head. But the heads are usually sprayed down with super stare back. So I don't imagine they're wearing masks. I think it would stink if they were having to, but they're not making the princesses that ride around in carriages at Walt Disney World wearing masks in public,
that's
which
true.
is a real big sticking point with me for if you want people to get on board with this, why aren't your princesses wearing masks? But that's an argument for a different stream. Do you think that this kind of introduction to characters may make it better for your son to meet characters closer and in person on future trips without like meltdowns or anything? Because he gets to see them from afar and kind
Mhm.
of get used to the whole concept of them.
I think so. I think it's a great sort of introduction for little, especially little kids. I mean, he's not even 2 yet. Um, so I mean, obviously the next step
That's
would
what,
be
actually, he's not even Disney. He's not even one yet.
no, he's 8 months old, Disney. Wink, wink. Um, so like the next
As
step
he's
would
like
be when
there,
we,
like, what?
I know, yeah, we'll make sure they don't stand a magic dance so they know his true age. Um, so when we go down in November to Disney World, I'm hoping that, first off, we're in a better spot in terms of the social distance rules. But even if it's the current rules, a place like Garden Grove where characters are distant but also a lot closer than they are at California Adventure, I think that'll be a good test for him to see how he does in a restaurant setting with a character that is sort of behind him or over his shoulder.
But still kind of close.
Yeah, you actually feel like the presence is there, but also, it's not in someone's face. You're not running up to a character. So, but he's also just a super friendly kid who I am sure if he saw Mickey, he would just probably run up to Mickey. So so far he doesn't have much fear in terms of people or things.
That's great.
Yeah.
So that kind of, there was one question, and I was like, when I was typing all of this out, I'm like, I will explain it way better when we're doing this on stream. And you kind of touched on it. So again, Marcus is a huge just Disney fan, a new DVC owner now at Walt Disney World. And I think you before the pandemic, you were going to Disney World in Florida almost as often as you were going to Disneyland. So you've been following a lot of the protocols and you've watched a lot of videos on different things that are happening at Walt Disney World. When you were at California Adventure, uh, did you notice anything similar between the two? Did you see a lot of like the Walt Disney World best practices coming over? Did you see improvements or extreme improvements on that kind of thing?
hmm Um, it's a good question. So we did not see anyone that was breaking the rules. Uh, I'm trying to guess of how many tickets they would have sold to this thing. It felt busy, but when we walked into the park on Buena Vista, there was no one in front of us, no one behind us, no one to the left or right. So it felt like it was busy, but then you also had your own sort of personal bubble.
Yeah.
People were definitely wearing the mask. People weren't trying to cheat the rules in terms of, walking with a beverage and, getting away with that. And also, I didn't really see a lot of cast members that were sort of going up to people and checking them on the rules either.
Oh,
So I think
that's
that
good.
probably, yeah, I think people were taking this seriously. And, not to get into politics, but I think in terms of California to Florida, I mean, we've been doing this for a year now, and
Yeah.
people have been on it because we haven't had a choice. We were sort of first in doing this.
And this
So
is
I
this
think,
is your this is your first taste of getting something back that you truly love and want to have, and
yeah,
not I'm not going to screw it up for everyone else because I want to keep having it.
yeah. So people were respectful of the mask rule. They were respectful of the 6 feet. You didn't have people sort of, walking on top of you. Um, it's just my third time down there in Anaheim, and it always feels safer than the grocery store. And that's
Yeah.
always my takeaway. It's just like, yeah, you're around people, but it does feel safe. And some of that could just be some of the Disney quote unquote magic, but um,
No, I'll circle back
they're
on
on
that at
top of
the
it.
end, but yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you there too. How's the park looking? Like refurbishment, clean? Have they been painting stuff while everything was closed down?
It looks exactly the same. You know, the Marvel stuff is blocked off pretty well. You could sort of see what's going on, but not really. Um, I mean, it nothing stood out in terms of, you imagine, hey, this part's been vacant for a year, stuff might be going on, but it looked pretty much the same. And oh, I should mention while we were there, they were testing um, one ride in particular. When am I trying to blank on the ride, the coaster ride that recently got renamed. Um,
Oh, Incredicoaster?
the Incredicoaster, yeah. So they were doing test runs of that while we were eating at Lamplight,
Did you just
including
raise your hand and said, I will go be a test
yeah, yeah,
dummy on that?
better that than the Mickey Duff Wheel. Um,
Well,
but they were
that's
they were
called the Pixar punishment now.
oh man, that did that once, never again. That's like mission space for me. That was a one and done.
No, you can't. Mission Space is great.
Mm-mm.
Great. Hmm. Hmm.
My first time to Epcot, I did that on a warm morning and did not fare
Well,
well.
you just did it wrong. You just did it wrong. So,
Mm-mm.
would you say that your experience was as enjoyable as pre-COVID, or was the magic just like how was the magic when you walked in? You said the music, so that's a real
Mm-hmm.
downer. But was the magic still there for you?
Um, yes and no. I mean, I think part of the magic is just getting the hell out the house and having nice weather and
Yeah.
seeing people. Like you forget that you don't really interact with strangers, on a day-to-day basis now. At least in
Listen,
person.
you're talking my ASMR is bar noise. So you don't have to talk to me about getting around strangers.
Yeah. So I think that was some of the magic, but in terms of, I guess, Disney going above and beyond, not for this event. It just, I don't know. It felt like this might have just been an event that was hoping and prepare for the real thing, which props to them. If you can make money on top of actually getting to test out some of these new guidelines, then by all means, I do it. But it didn't feel like there's anything super special about the event overall.
So, do you think Asher's first full theme park experience will be in California or Florida?
It will be in California. So I was thinking about this when it comes to going to baseball games of like, when's the ideal time to take him to a baseball game? And the ideal time would be to take him now while there's only 10% because
Yeah, I was gonna
he's
say
not
like
going
what
to
only
sit
like
still.
50
So
people can get in there.
yeah, if there's no one next to me, this is the time to do it. And I think that'll be the same philosophy for us for Disneyland. If we can get tickets between, let's say, April and I don't know, October, which who knows? I mean, this could be a situation where it's just impossible to get tickets.
So this is good. I'm going to do a quick segue because we are all travel agents here at the Crescent Lake Club, and we did get guidance today from Disney on how ticketing will work for Disneyland when it opens on the 29th and 29th or 30th of April. You will have to be the person who is buying the tickets will have to be a California resident, and they no more than 3 households of up to 4 people. So that means max of 12 people that they can buy tickets for. And every adult over the age of 16 is what Disney determines is an adult will have to show proof that they are a resident of California upon entering the park. So that's not to say like Marcus is an actual resident of California. He can't buy me a ticket and say, I am also a resident of California. I will have to show my California driver's license or some form of ID at the turnstile to get into the parks, which is, it's going to be for Walt Disney World people is really different because everyone's used to just walking up and tapping the turnstiles. But at Disneyland, they encourage you to buy tickets online and just use your phone to scan in there. They take a picture of you. There's like no hard media. Everything is actually done at the turnstiles, not at the guest services, kiosks like we're used to at Walt Disney World. So that's how Disneyland ticketing is going to go. So Marcus, do you want to draw me up I'll be a tenant. I can send you like a rent agreement and you just say I'll live at your house. No,
so that brings me to, I guess my next question is, how long will this actually be taking place? I don't think it's going to be the rest of the year.
No, I think it's I think it's, I don't have any insider knowledge. I can just give you guesses. And I think it's going to be California only until July 4th.
Ooh. I'm going to say, that's a good question. So, speaking of Los Angeles, they finally are allowing Laker fans to return starting in April. So that's another step of having indoor events.
No, so crazy that he announced that you could have indoor sporting events and other things that like literally a nanosecond after MLB took the All-Star game from Georgia. So I'm going to go ahead and I already texted you about this, $100. The All-Star game this year is at Dodger Stadium.
They owe us an All-Star game, so they can
just flop it. And then Atlanta, when they repeal this shit, they can have All-Star game next year.
There you go. They can trade. My guess is October 1st. I'm going to go with October 1st for a lot of things. I'm going to go October 1st for annual passes.
At Disneyland.
I'm going to go October 1st for out-of-state guests at Disneyland. I'm going October 1st for annual passes at Disney World to finally be free without, a hookup. Um,
I think you're gonna get Disney World annual passes by July 4th.
hmm,
And I
that's
can tell
soon.
you that with insider knowledge.
Okay. All right. And they'll also go October 1st for sort of, at least for Disney World, more a free, sort of a reopening of the capacity issue. Um, you know,
I think you're gonna
it,
see that in
at
July.
that soon, huh?
Mm,
Like 100% by July or like 75% by July?
you're gonna get to 75 when all the All Stars open, and then when they give you a date for Port Orleans, that's when you know it's going to 100.
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Port Orleans to reopen.
Which is so weird. I'm drinking out of a mint julep cup from New Orleans Square in Disneyland, which is so weird. We got some news about New Orleans Square in Disneyland. So eventually, when it finally opens for indoor dining, which is going to now be sooner than people thought, so probably when the park opens, you can go into Blue Bayou and get a hurricane.
Whoa. Wait,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. You can get wine, beer, and their mixed drink is going to be a hurricane. You can still get the non-alcoholic mint juleps outside, which is still really, really weird to me that Disney has associated the mint julep as a New Orleans drink because, gonna be honest, I've never seen one anywhere ever here.
It's more Kentucky, correct?
I was going to say. But yes, this is a mint julep cup from New Orleans Square at Disneyland.
There you go. I'm sure the hurricane won't be any good, and it'll be like $20. But if you want a
Yeah, I got
hurricane,
this.
then
Someone gave me this for my birthday a few years ago, like when they came out with them before the pandemic. But anyway, yes. So for all of you purists, I'm sorry. Booze is making its way from Star Wars Land at Disneyland down to Blue Bayou.
what would Walt think, Keyless? Come on. What would Walt think?
Well, Walt sure did like his Scotch Mist at like 11, so I think he would be fine with it. You know what? I guess I gotta be honest. I think Walt would just be real excited to see what the ledger numbers look like on money for him and
Hmm.
his account right now. And he would just be super fine. He'd probably hate Star Wars though.
I think he would hate a lot of things.
What do you think he would hate other than Star Wars? I want to hear this.
Hmm.
He'd probably hate Cars Land. No, he would like Cars
He would hate,
Land because it's
no,
theming
because
and it's
it
still
ties
driving.
into, yeah.
He would hate Star Wars. He'd probably hate Marvel.
Well,
He
he'll
would
hate
hate
everything off the Fox deal, essentially. So
he would hate
anything off
Tower of Terror.
Fox Marvel, yeah.
What else would Walt hate? This is a great conversation to have. We all talk about Walt wouldn't want this. Well, what else would Walt not want? Like they always say, Walt wouldn't want booze in his parks. But what else would Walt not want?
He would hate DCA in general, right?
Um,
I mean,
I
there's
think he
parts of
would
it
have
from the 50s that he might, oh, this is cool, but
I think he would have actually loved Bugs Land.
really?
If you think about it,
Hmm.
it's a place that kids could just run around and you have the splash pads and these basic rides and it was still like a theme. He would have loved
Yeah, that's
Bugs
true.
Land. He would have absolutely loved Bugs Land. That was like one of the last thematic things. He would have loved Bugs Land. Ah, Is that my guy? There's my guy.
Say hi.
Hi, Bubba. What you doing, Asher?
Mhm. Mhm.
Hey, baby. Yeah, I think he would have loved Bugs Land. I actually think he kind of would have liked the idea of the pier
I mean, it's very nostalgia. So yeah, I can see that.
because it's like something that you can't experience that you can't get anywhere else. He would have hated Star Wars.
Yeah.
He liked things that were honest. Honest. I mean, we still have like Country Bears, and we still do like Hall of Presidents. And before you came on stream, I was playing a Disneyland playlist, and it was forgot about great moments with Mr. Lincoln. It's
Oh
like, oh my
man.
goodness. Like,
By the way,
anyway.
your All-Star Gavin Newsom's already lobbying for the All-Star game, so you might be right.
Well, so the ones that the stadiums, Tampa Bay, well, they're never going to pay for that. LA
No.
already did the work, already did the legwork for last year. New Yankees has not had one yet. They could pull that real quick. The new Rangers ballpark will, oh my gosh, they will, I don't know what they will have to do, but they're about to pass. They've just passed the same tragic thing that Georgia did. And on
Mm,
top of that, they're already in trouble with the White House for going 100% capacity
that is
for
true.
opening day, maskless. Who wants to die to go see the Rangers on opening day against like the Orioles or whoever?
It's the Blue
They're going to
Jays. Get it
live.
right. Get it right.
Even worse.
Canada's team.
You mean Dunedin's team?
That is true. The lovely city Dunedin.
Anyway, we'll wrap this up. Thank you again.
No
Marcus,
problem.
any last thoughts? What are you expecting when Disneyland opens? Because I know you've
Yeah,
got some thoughts and you're ready for it. So, what are you expecting?
I am expecting. So if the site was, if the site crashed for this event, I think they're going to need to figure out a better rollout for tickets for the parks opening. I'm expecting at first no park hopping. I could see them selling two separate sets of tickets for whatever 15% for each park, keeping it separate. I expect tickets to start at $160 at least, which is probably not too far off from what it was in terms of the peak period for a single day.
A single
Um,
day, one park.
yeah, I mean it was up there in terms of before COVID. It was creeping up, especially during
All right.
the
So,
park hopper was over 200, right?
yeah? What's your threshold for you, just you, not the wife, not the kiddo? What is your threshold for you getting into Disneyland on day opening? What's your price threshold?
So on the first day,
Yeah, because you're not going to go. I know you, and you may like go and do like Jungle Cruise or something, but you're not going to go and do mini rides just to get in there and walk around and oh, actually, don't do Jungle Cruise. Do Space Mountain, the Superior Space Mountain.
yes. I mean, I would pay 250 maybe. And I'm
Just
gonna
for
be out of
you
town
to
that
be.
weekend. Yeah, I'll be out of town regardless that weekend. So
So
the
that's good.
the pressure will be gone. But
Yeah.
I just wonder what it's. I mean, how hard is it to get tickets because the park isn't that big to begin with. Number one, and when you're talking about
Well,
15% of that,
and
it's not gonna
you,
be fun.
for all of y'all that haven't been to Disneyland, it is not even, it's like everyone's like, oh, it's like Magic Kingdom, but really smashed together. Yeah, but you can barely walk through there on like a normal day. There's no way they could do 6 feet. That's like when I said all this went down and they wanted to open Disneyland, I'm like, you have to assign times, and it's going to be like basically a private tour that takes you to every ride in order, because there's some places like around Pirates of the Caribbean
Yep.
and Haunted Mansion and Big Thunder and all that. There's no way you can do social distancing in the way that these rides and their queues need to be spaced. And I say that having done Disney twice now, so, and
Yeah.
Universal. It's going to
And I
be
think
really interesting to see.
if you do get in, I think it'll be a great experience. And I think I'm at the point where the first open date I can get, I will take it, and then I will figure out my work situation on the back, unless it's during a certain stretch in July, which will be tricky to pull that off. But I think I would just
I
take
think
whatever I
it'd be
can get.
fun.
Yeah. Um, and I do think because of the way the numbers are going here, that the 15% will be 25% very soon, and then at that point
If
it'll
not
be.
next week or whatnot, yeah.
Um,
I think
I
they're going to
think
get to 35 to 40 within the end of April. I think it's fair.
it'll be much faster than the Disney World rollout, where it's been, I think, stuck on what, 35%, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Which
It'll go
they
fast.
100, they fudged that. And I think that is, they're pulling the Vegas ticket, or the Vegas play of what is our entire fire capacity for every single empty shop, store, hotel room, everything. And that's 35% of that. That's what Vegas does. And I think that's what Walt Disney World is doing right now.
It's called Disney Math.
And
I do it all the time.
I've been told by bloggers and people on Twitter that I'm an idiot and I'm dumb. And there is nothing at this point looking at those pictures that make me think that I'm wrong about this at this point.
Do you want to name
They
those
are
bloggers?
taking,
Do you want to call them out? Call them out.
oh, yeah, it's like Tom Corliss and his dumb girlfriend. That's it. Crystal Lake Club.
There you go.
Yeah, we're not here to give you lies. We're here to give you truth. We speak truth. Anyway, Marcus, thank you so much. I'm so jealous you got to go into California Adventure. Did you walk around Cars Land? Because I want to go and live there.
We walked around there and we wanted to see what my son's reaction would be like. And I think at that point he had the phone in his hands. He was really curious about the cell phone,
Damn
unfortunately.
it, Asher.
Yeah.
You're supposed to look at Inspiration Falls.
Well, to be fair, he hasn't seen the movies yet either. So none of it, yeah.
All right, so what Disney movies has he seen other than Mickey? Or was it he bat?
He hasn't seen any movies. His attention span is not there. For a movie, I mean, he's barely getting through Mickey Mouse Clubhouse at this point while sitting still. So,
Have you tried Godzilla versus Kong? Because I watched that last night.
how was that?
Well, I liked it.
You paid money for that?
No, I have an HBO Max account.
Oh, okay, it's on HBO Max. Okay. All right, yeah. We'll see. I don't know what his first Disney movie will be. Probably something that's semi-current, not something that's from the vault.
Soul. He should watch Soul.
He's not gonna get that. I think Cars is a good
I
one.
know, but it's still a lot of music and bright colors and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help.
We'll start with something catchy or something that's some music, some songs. What if Soul has music?
Lion King.
You could do that.
Beauty and the
The
Beast.
original, not the live action or anything.
No, not the. Actually, no joke. Do the live action Jungle Book.
Would that be too scary?
No,
I guess
I
he's too
don't
young
think
to
so.
understand. He's too young anyways to pick up.
But it's also the live action one is like real bears and stuff like that, and it's like
That's
Bill
true.
Murray as Baloo, and it's. Listen, that's the last Disney movie I got Joe to watch. So.
That was the last one.
He's also a really big fan of the guy that did all the music for Jungle Book, Louis Prima.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I can see that.
All right, guys. Well, thank y'all. Thank you, Marcus, so much for hanging out with us tonight. This has been great. I love hearing about Disneyland. I'm not going to lie. Disneyland is my favorite Disney park. I just can't wait to get back. Like I said, I would live in Carsland if I could find a place to hide away, like at the Cozy Cone Motel, and they would let me stay there. But again, thank you so much, Marcus, for coming and talking to us about Touch of Disney, what Disneyland is looking like. I can't wait to see more. Don't forget to go and look at our blog at crescentlakeclub.com and see all the news that we've got, especially we were talking about like buying tickets, and when you are able to go travel to Disneyland, you'll be able to find that news there. And if you are watching us on Twitch, hit that purple follow button. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that red subscribe button and the bell notification so you know when we go live with these surprise happiest hours. But again, thank you guys so much. I do not think we'll have a Sunday Fun Day because it is Easter, but there will be surprise videos that pop up once we get to Orlando. And don't forget, Teets and I will be back on Monday with our another installment that is Iron Man free. Thank goodness. I'm so tired of Iron Man. Of Marvel Monday. And that's at 8 o'clock Central Time. But again, thank y'all so much for coming to watch us. Thank you again, Marcus, for everything. I cannot wait to go to Disneyland. All I do is think about Disneyland now. So until next time, see y'all later.
See you later.